many commonalities between people in their relationship outcome as they had more professional success. The more successful they got, the worse their dating outcomes got. So I wanted to know why. And as I started figuring out the why, it was because people didn't know who they were, know what they want, know what they qualify for, or even with whom they qualify for, know what they wanted from them. So since they didn't know those four steps, they were going to be in a perpetual 25-year state of bad relationship outcomes.
It's like a mortgage of misery when you said the 25 years of
25 years, just 25. And it's not that far off. If someone is born between 1970 and 1981, they've been dating for over 20 years, if they're not married, or they've been married once or married twice. And so, and they failed once or failed twice. So they're in a perpetual state, and the book helps illuminate why they're in that state.
I had a conversation since I know the last time, if you remember when we met when you came to Canada, I was telling you about the
Mm-hmm.
circle of friends, right? That I'm not
Yes.
that
Mm-hmm.
friendly with these days. So I spoke to
Mm.
one of them offline and I asked them the simple question. I was like, some of these guys have been talking about getting married, having children for the last 10 years, and they still don't have it now. And I asked them the question. I was like, at what point or what year do you look in the mirror and say, you know what, I am the problem instead of everyone else is the problem? And he didn't
Never.
have an answer, never. And I told
The
him
the
that
answer is never.
you're,
Yeah.
yeah, I told him like you're wasting your time because you're just you're being influenced by them because now you're putting it off. I'm like, some of us are almost 40, some of us are in our 40s, some of us are in our mid 40s. And I'll tell you, Glenn, like if you were to look at some of them, you would think that they're straight out of high school.
Just the way they carry themselves. So they would identify themselves as a city boy or a boy still. And most women would even say that. When we talk about the six versions of men that are in the dating market at any given time.
Yeah, but they
Um,
would go to like a the church as well. So I'm always confused because I haven't been to the church in a while myself, but I know you go.
mhm.
How how are they helping to balance these men? Because I think that's the first step is to balance out the men and then eventually you can help balance out the women.
No, it's a problem. So if we want to talk about here in America, in the black church, there is no balance for men. Men get a men's day program and they have a men's ministry and men's choir. You see all the men in the parking lot ministry or working security. That's where the men are. And they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be touched. They don't want to be, they don't, they're there to do their duty as their belief back to God through Jesus Christ. I am here to serve. I am here to be used. I'm going home. What we find is that the churches in the US that are successful with men don't break out their programs for men and women. They're the churches that are a part of ARC, non denominational churches. They're pretty much, I don't know if it's the right way to say it, they're looked at as tapping a husband and wife team, creating a total addressable market for lost souls in an area, and then helping them plant a church. And they get all the resources. If I had to liken it to my own experience, it would have been the days I had in QSR with McDonald's. You go find the right person to be in your trading area to sell and evangelize the brand. That is what I believe are the next 15 years. Those are the churches that are going to see the largest growth. And to get back to your point with where men are getting centered, they're not. Right now in America, we have men who are going to the internet, they're going on video games, they're going to the barbershop, they're going to the lounge, and they're talking to other men about the problems that they're dealing with. And the church has been pretty silent on that. The churches that are not are the ones where you're seeing not just mothers, single mothers and kids, not where you're seeing older couples, where you're seeing young men who are wanting to be husbands and be fathers come together and then help them live out their call according to Jesus Christ. But until men get in that mindset and get into the flow of the appropriate church for their specific season, they're going to continue to wander aimlessly and still look the way that they looked in high school to you.
Do you think that maybe some of them need to understand that they have to do some deep soul searching and maybe understand the dynamic of how to I don't want to say handle a woman, but to maybe work with one because as you point out, they're spending so much time in their own circle of friends who are speaking the same thing, complaining about the same thing, and they just don't
Mm-hmm.
know the outside world or the other side.
Well, the question is, why don't they feel like, to your language, can they not handle or be with a woman? They haven't been exposed to it. I mean, in our society right now, over the last 20 years, we've seen a 20-point increase in the number of single family led households by women. 80% in one population of children are born to single mothers, single, unwed. And of those children, they are going through their entire life from 0 to 24, never seeing their mother deal with a man positively. So then they come into the dating pool, which we have seen over the last 20 years, and women are looking for a certain type of man. If that woman was not raised with a father in a household, the idea of a man is what her mama said she didn't like about her dad, and then she goes to the market and starts saying, this is what men need to be. You don't know what a man needs to be. You've never been experienced, or you've never had the experience around a man. So when you grow up and you have the privilege to grow up in a house with a man and a woman, and you see a man leading, it is easier for you to not just lead her, it's easier for you to lead other men. Men are tribal. We organize ourselves within hierarchies everywhere we go. We do it on the playground, we do it in the locker room, we do it on the schoolyard, and in the hallways of school and high school. We do it in college through fraternities. We do it through job opportunities. We know who's the boss and who's not. And then we go and do it in the military, we do it in the medical field, we do it in our trade area. Men are very easy to lead when they know leadership. I believe that there's something that God put in men where they're able to identify leadership quickly, especially if they've been exposed to poor leadership. It's like, you're not a leader, you're a manager. You're not a leader, you're a figurehead, which are different things. But being around other men and being around a leader is a lot better for all of society and for men to get the best outcome that they're looking for. But the men that you're talking about, they got to do some soul searching. I'm a fan of therapy. They need to go to therapy. They got to figure these things out that I'm communicating with a professional, because it helps them work through their reactions and their responses to the world, and more specifically, their responses to women.